Alright, welcome back to Lenz Comic Corner, Classic Lesson Non-Classics. This is episode number 3303, double shot number 3197. Basically we have a Transformers type trade here, and of course a Teen and Materials trade. First we have is from Transformers, we have Void Rivals. Yeah, it's a part of the Energon universe, but it's part of the Transformers line because it features Transformers. Written by the Skybound head, Robert Kirkman. Yep. Artwork here is done by Lorenzo Di Felici. So, this book collects issues 7 to 12 of Void Rivals. When I finished reading these issues when the original came out and when I read this trade here, you would think by the end of this is the end of the series. Nope. Still going. So, most of the time we have a pig being like a pig alien. Well, they argue with another alien, and of course then we see Rodimus Prime. Yep, Rodimus Prime. Not Hot Rod, that's Rodimus Prime. Or basically, he is here. He's not the only one here, per se, who's part of the Transformers. There's some here in the past where we have some, looks like some laborers being knocked over by some big wind. And then we have the two, well, the guy with the red jewel in his head and the girl with the green jewel in her head, but they're basically still wandering around this wasteland. It's really good here, and we have this guy here who is kind of this universe version of Vader, who puts on this outfit. He's called Proximus. Yeah, literally, he is basically this universe version of Vader. So they're just basically on their own. They have barely any supplies. Eventually, they do separate by the end of this. They do have their jewels touch each other. It's implied these two are falling for each other, but it doesn't really go much anywhere. They have they're basically running from Proximus because they're together, per se. And then, of course, one of them gets stabbed by a spear, but don't worry, they survive. Then we have the pig alien look like he goes home. And then we have one of the come across like a bunker. And then we see I don't think this is Cup. I don't remember which Transformer this is. I know it's not Cup. Cup's usually blue. I think this is it might be might be Ratchet. Why is he green? I'm not sure. Then he proceeds to heal with a sword. Tries to fight one of the other people. Then we have the four-head Quintessa. They get shocked by what appears to be their boss. Actually, it's their prosecutor. Basically, they shocked because he failed his job for some reason. And of course, they're fighting this particular this Autobot, and supposedly he kills something. Probably the other one. So apparently it is called the Mind's Eye. So yeah, use Energon to basically revitalize her. So apparently the Mind's Eye are actually Energon ports. Interesting. So actually this is Jetfire. Yes, Jetfire. I'm like, yeah, I don't see Jetfire very much a lot of time in Transformers Wikipedia, so I didn't realize this was him. So he helps them out, of course, and fights up other robots with them. And then eventually they have to separate, which have their ports touch. Their foreheads touch, basically, as maybe a sign of respect. Then he gives her his android. And then they just have their foreheads touch, like they're kissing. Yeah, it's a weird effect. I'm not sure what exactly this means. Just take care of yourself, and a portal opens up. And then something comes out. Eyes open. From the look of it, it could be... No, I think it could be Unicron. I'm not sure who this could be. Just something comes through. It's like... And that's it. You were revealed in time. You allow yourself to see it. And that's it. Very interesting, this one. Yeah, I give this book roughly a 9 out of 10. Next up we have is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles versus Street Fighter. Well, the whole thing of this book is the various characters, the various turtles. Now, this is by Paul Atler with Aaron Medell on the artwork. And it's only 5 issues. Mostly put in just the various turtles fade off against various members of the Street Fighter franchise. So we start with Guile fighting Raphael. Makes sense. Me. Yep. And they fight in looks like a ring. Kind of looks like a boxing ring. Yep. M. Bison is watching all this. But M. Bison is working with Baxter Stockman. And then you have Michelangelo with food and other stuff. Runs into Chun-Li. Which he does know later on she's cute. Which she appreciates that. And there's also a casino here. It's like... And of course, this guy looking for a sister, and of course, basically, then we have Michelangelo versus Chun-Li. It's like, yep. He's like, what size is it? Nope, not interested in that. Continue fighting. Yep. Even basically wrapping her legs on his head. It's like, submit, submit. Gladly. Tap, tap. Tap Fingers like, what? I would have thought he just done that. No, he just does that. Like, okay, interesting. Then you have Guile. Looks like he's hitting on Chun-Li, but nah. A lot of people gone missing, and then we have Guile basically taking the best shot at M. Bison. And then you have Raphael fighting him again. And then we have, I'm trying to remember this guy's name here. He's, Ryu, I think it's, yeah, Ryu's fighting Leonardo. And Leonardo beats him. Yeah, Leonardo beats the main character of Street Fighter. And then we have Donatello fight off against, I don't remember this guy. It's not Ryu, I know that for sure. I don't remember who this is. Yeah. Some people might correct me in the comments below about this one. I mean, some of the characters I do know, but not every single one of them. I heard something also in the upcoming Street Fighter movie, the reboot, that Guile is going to be played by Cody Rhodes. Yes, imagine with his weird hair. And then we have what looks like M. Bison soldiers show up, and of course it's a massive brawl. And it's a rocket, of course. Come on. Yeah. hate when it does this. If you're trying to figure what the heck is going on here. Hey, Raphael, so what the heck is Psycho Power? It's organic energy. Like bananas? Dark presence. Okay. So yeah, Turtles are not really familiar with Psycho Power, and Bias is basically full of it. So, and then you have Chun-Li, who's also in the handcuffs, proceeds to proceeds to break the yeah, she gets freed. Well, not out of the handcuffs, of course, we fight them. And then we have a pod open up, where someone says, "I'm free! I'm free!" And Bag's like, "No, no, not him! It's the Shredder!" Yes, the Shredder. Who, for some reason, I'm not sure why this is, the artist decided to draw Shredder like 87 Shredder. Now, because of the fact this is actually loosely tied into the IDW continuity, he didn't technically look like this. My guess is the artist must have been a big fan of the 87 series. This perfect back to stock basically also with him is from the IDW continuity. This is 87 Shredder. So he fights M. Bison's troops, and then we have, yes, we do have M. Bison versus the Shredder. Yes. That does happen here. Yep. After all this mess of brawling, of course. Also, and then you can tell basically we're in IDW continuity because Jenka shows up. Yes, Jenka. You know, the female turtle. Yeah, she shows up and fights Shredder. And there she is. That's all you can tell, basically. This is from the IDW continuity, despite the fact that Shredder's not drawn like the way he was there. Yeah, the Shredder one, that one looked completely different. Yeah, and then, of course, well, do we have basically M. Bison versus Shredder? Oh, heck yes, we do. And it's a brawl. And then for some reason, basically, like, yeah, Raphael punching Donatello. He becomes overpowered in dark energy, and then eventually they able to go in separate ways. Like, they go like a van. Left in the van. And then, of course, on top of the truck, on the way back to New York, we have, for some reason, I think we have Guile and Raphael dancing on top of this truck. I'm like, I don't know why, but yeah. And like I said, clearly, when I saw Shredder here, like, this Shredder is clearly not IDW Shredder, just based on design. That's 87 Shredder. Because the artist clearly is a fan of the 87 show, so they have him drawn like the 87 Shredder, despite the fact that the Turtles are clearly from the IDW continuity because of Jenka being there and Baxter Stockman working with Shredder, obviously. But, really good book. Now, there is technically one more miniseries on here that's a crossover with Turtles in our franchise, that being Stranger Things. And then after that, that's it for Turtles. Yep. But yeah, I actually, this one, roughly a 10 out of 10. This was a lot of fun, but 87 Shredder. If they haven't read this book, please feel free to comments below. And was anybody surprised to see the Shredder being depicted as 87 Shredder by appearance, not acting like him? Because if he was acting like him, he'd be a complete goofball half the time. Well, that was basically was in the first 7 seasons show. The season they became more serious. But, yeah. So, next video, Reincarnated 7 Prince. Okay, thanks you. Bye.